There's an emptiness, one that not everyone dares to face. It's the feeling. I have everything, and yet something feels missing, something I can't name. Maybe you've felt it before, standing in a crowd, yet feeling completely alone. Reaching success, only to lie awake at night thinking, does anyone truly know who I am? It's not ordinary sadness. It's the deepest ache of all, not knowing who you are or where you belong. But over 3,000 years ago, ancient sages in India left behind a message, not through theories, but through a direct experience that transcended words. They didn't call it a god. They didn't call it a savior. They called it Brahman, that which is present in everything, and yet has never been separate from you, not for a single moment. And to know Brahman might just be the key to coming home to yourself. Long ago, in a small village of ancient India, there was a boy named Shveta. He grew up among rice fields, forests, and quiet evenings by a sacred river. But from a young age, a question stirred deeply in his heart, one no one around him could answer. Where do we come from? Where do we go after death? And if everything changes, what is truly real? As a child, such questions are often dismissed as nonsense. But for Shveta, they were a burning hunger, something he couldn't live without answering. When he came of age, Shveta left his village with only a cloth bag, a walking stick, and a question. Thus began the journey to find the nameless. He sought out sages and wise teachers across distant lands. One taught him to chant thousands of mantras. Another said, only by denying the body and burning away desire can truth be reached. A third handed him a heavy scripture and said, memorize this, and then you will understand. But the more he studied, the more he practiced, the emptier he felt. No one could answer the one question he truly needed to understand. What is the essence behind all of this? One day, exhausted by the riverbank, an old man appeared. No prayer beads, no monk's robe, just eyes, deeply still. He sat beside Shveta and asked, what are you searching for? Shveta replied, I'm searching for God. I want to understand the nature of the universe. I want to know what never changes. The old man smiled gently. Then you are looking for something you cannot find, because it has never left you. But Shveta was puzzled. What do you mean? The old man closed his eyes for a moment, then said, look into the very mind that asks. What is listening right now? What is aware of every thought, every emotion within you? That is not old, not young, not happy, not sad. It comes from nowhere and goes nowhere. That is Brahman. Shveta looked at him, and suddenly there was nothing more to ask. A deep silence spread through his whole being. Brahman is not something out there. It is the reality present within your very mind. In every moment, in every breath. What cannot be found is what has never left us. From that day on, Shveta stopped searching. Not because he gave up, but because he finally saw. He returned to his village, lived as an ordinary man, but his eyes had changed. He no longer searched for something out there, because he knew, his very self unlabeled, unattached, was Brahman. What are Brahman, Atman, and Maya? When people hear the word Brahman, many mistake it for the name of an ancient god or some all-powerful being in a religion. But Brahman is not a person, not a god, not a thing. Brahman is the silent foundation behind everything. It has no form. It's not bound by time. It's not somewhere, because it is everything. It is never born, never dies. It can't be divided. It doesn't need your belief. It simply is. So what is Brahman really? Imagine this. You're watching a movie. Hundreds of characters, stories, and emotions fill the screen. But everything you see is being projected onto one single screen. Whether it's war, love, or death, the screen remains still, unmoving, unattached. Brahman is that eternal screen. All things that appear and disappear are just passing images, but the essence is never lost. It's like the ocean and the waves. Waves may rise, crash, or dissolve, but all of it is still water. Waves are appearances. The ocean is Brahman, or like electricity in a socket. Whether it powers a TV, a fridge, or a fan, the energy is the same. Brahman is that single current, expressing itself in countless forms. And what about Atman? Atman is the individual soul, the deepest part of you. It's not your personality, not your emotions, not your memories. It is the one that knows your feeling emotions. The one that remains still, aware, luminous, even when you're happy or sad, winning or losing. Imagine this. A mirror. No matter who stands before it, young or old, beautiful or flawed, the mirror reflects without attachment. Atman is just like that. It sees without judging. Or think of a talk show host. Guests may cry, laugh, or explode in emotion, but the host remains present, aware, and calm. That host is like the Atman inside you. Or picture a light in a messy room. You walk into chaos, but the light just shines. It doesn't care what it's shining on. Atman is the light of awareness, untouched by the content of your life. You can change jobs, homes, even your body will age. But the one who is aware of all those changes never changes. That is Atman. And here's the most important truth in all of Vedic wisdom. Atman is Brahman. Your soul is not different from the entire universe. You are not just a drop in the ocean. You are the whole ocean, appearing as a single drop. So then, what is Maya? Maya is illusion. It's what makes you forget Brahman and believe, I am this body. I am this job. I am this pain. Maya is not a lie. It's a limitation, like when you dream and believe it's all real. But when you wake up, you realize it was all just an illusion. Maya works the same way. It makes you believe you are separate from the world, when in truth, you have never left the self. Look closely. A glass of ice water. You see the ice as something separate, but once it melts, it's just water. Maya makes you forget you're water and believe you're a frozen, isolated cube. Or think of an actor who forgets they're acting. They cry, suffer, fall in love, completely immersed in the role. Maya is this confusion, believing the character is who you truly are. Let's keep this in mind. Brahman is the whole, the foundation, the ever-present. Atman is the individual self, the deepest knowing in you. And Maya is the illusion that makes you forget who you truly are. And all of the four great sayings, Maha-Vakyas, point to one simple truth we've forgotten. You are not the one seeking. You are what is being sought. A Buddhist perspective, when the Dharmakaya meets Brahman. When we speak of Brahman in Vedic philosophy, many immediately associate it with Hinduism. But what's truly fascinating is this. Within both early Buddhism and the Mahayana tradition, we find remarkably similar concepts, just expressed through different names and lenses. First, let's look at Brahman and the Dharmakaya. In Mahayana Buddhism, the Dharmakaya is the absolute nature of all Buddhas, beyond all forms, beyond birth and death, beyond coming and going. Just like Brahman, the Dharmakaya cannot be grasped by the senses. It isn't stained by concepts like self, person, or separation. It is absolute emptiness, not as nothingness, but as the absence of any fixed form, allowing all phenomena to arise within it. Think of the air in a room. You walk into a space filled with people talking, laughing, perhaps even arguing. Yet one thing is always there, unchanging, unnoticed: the air. It holds everyone. It nourishes everything. It remains present no matter what happens. Brahman is like that. In Buddhism, the Dharmakaya is reality as it is, unstained, unshaken, whether in samsara or nirvana. Now, about Atman. This is where much debate often arises. In the Vedas, we hear the phrase, Atman is Brahman. At first glance, it may sound like the assertion of a permanent supreme self. But Buddhism teaches anatta, non-self. There is no fixed me. Here's the clarity. Atman in the Vedas is not the personal ego. It has no name, no characteristics. It isn't bound by thought or emotion. In other words, Atman is pure awareness, very similar to the Buddha nature or the original mind in Buddhism. The Buddha once said, "The mind that is not born and does not die, that does not come or go, that is the suchness of mind." This is Atman, free from ego, just pure, radiant awareness. Think of a moment when you were deeply angry. Your vision blurs, your body tightens, your mind reacts. But, at the same time, there's a part of you that knows, I'm angry. That subtle knowing, calm, steady, untouched, that is Atman. And in Buddhist language, it is the awakened mind, the one that sees without being swept away. It does not fluctuate with emotion. It is not ruled by circumstance. It simply knows, silently, clearly. Now let's turn to Maya. In Buddhism, the root of suffering is ignorance, not seeing reality as it is. We believe this body is me, these emotions are mine, and the world is something outside of us. From that, we spiral into fear, craving, and separation. Maya, in Vedic terms, functions in exactly the same way. It is the veil that makes us forget our true nature. Brahman. It's like ignorance making us forget that all things are empty of self. When Maya dissolves, you recognize, I am Brahman. When ignorance ceases, you awaken to the Dharmakaya. Both paths point toward liberation, beyond the illusion of a separate self. Imagine someone who has worn red-tinted glasses since childhood, without knowing. To them, the whole world appears red. They say, this is just how the world is. But the world was never red. It was just the lens. That's how Maya works. That's how ignorance works. It distorts the truth and convinces us that illusion is reality. Now let's bring the insights together. Brahman and the Dharmakaya both point to the same absolute reality, beyond all form. Atman, as pure awareness, aligns with the Buddha nature, not the ego, but the silent knower within. And Maya, the illusion of separation, is just like avidya, ignorance, obscuring our true nature. So what truly matters is not adding more, but letting go. Vedic wisdom and Buddhist insight, though spoken in different tongues, both point to the same realization: to see clearly, to stop being fooled by the illusion of self. It's not about finding something new. It's about releasing what has always been in the way. Whether you call it Brahman, Dharmakaya, or emptiness, it's just a name, a pointer to what can never truly be named. And if you're searching for peace, freedom, or awakening, remember, you are not the seeker. You are what is being found when the mist of Maya finally lifts. The four great sayings, a journey back to the self. In their search for Brahman, the absolute reality, the ancient sages of India did not leave behind lengthy doctrines or complex theories. They left behind just 4 short phrases, but each phrase, is a key that opens the doorway to awakening. These phrases are called the Maha-Vakyas, the four great sayings. They are the backbone of the entire Vedic tradition. They don't ask you to believe. They don't tell you what to worship. They simply invite you to remember what you've never truly forgotten. The four great sayings are Tvam Asi, you are that. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma, consciousness is Brahman. I am Atma Brahma, this self is Brahman. Each of these is not just a phrase, it's a path, a step out of illusion, a bridge from Maya, through the light of Atman, returning to the silent foundation that is Brahman, the unborn, undying essence that has always been within you. And this journey, this inner unfolding, begins with a whisper from the universe itself. Tvam Asi, you are that. You don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to become someone else. You only need to remember what is already here. Because what you're seeking is the very thing that's listening to these words right now.